more people.
So today is Geeta Jayanti Day. So we thought that we will do something different. So we have been studying the Gita for so many years. So today we will do some of the aspects of the glory of the Gita. Like what is the Mahatmya of Gita? Om Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Vasudeva Sutam Devam
Kamsachanuramardanam
Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So the glory of the Gita is found in this Purana called Varaha Purana. And Sut Ji is describing this portion in this Varaha Purana. So Mother Earth goes to the Lord Vishnu and asks him that how can somebody who is going through their prarabdha karma, meaning those who are born into the world and their actions they are involved in their duties, with a specific set of karmas they have come into the world and that is getting exhausted. So while that they are doing all their duties and everything in the world, how is it possible to have devotion? So that is the question with which this Geeta Mahatmyam starts, where Mother Earth asks, Bhagavan Parameshana Bhakti Avyabhichari, single pointed devotion. That is Avyabhicharani Bhakti. That is the supreme blessing also one can say. That is the supreme goal of life also. Prarabdham bhujyamanasya katham bhavati. Somebody who is going through their karma in the world, doing so many things, involved in the family, in the society. Where is the time and how will this happen to such a person? So Vishnu Bhagavan replies here. He says, Prarabdham bhujyamano hi Gita bhyasa rata sada samukta sasukhi loke karmana nopalityate. So one who is regular in the study of the Gita, while going through their daily duties and the actions, what they have to do, that person will not be bound by karma. That person will be free and that person will be happy. So the study of the Gita, he says, is the means by which the person will become free, happy, karma also will not bind that person, and that person will be able to get that avyabhichari bhakti. Then he goes on. This is a very long portion actually in this Geeta Mahatmyam. He gives again the example of the lotus leaf, which we see in the Gita also, which comes. Just as the water does not stain the lotus leaf, in the same way, the sins do not taint a person who is regular in the recitation of the Gita. Even just the reciting of the Gita. See, Mahatmya also means that it is the glory, and when we glorify anything, if we just take the fact as a fact, then it is not glorification. But when it is exaggerated, when it is glorified that way, Sometimes we see that Bhagwan is such that all the stutis and the praise of Bhagwan is done. So there is the glory of Bhagwan. Now glory of Bhagwan is such that whatever we say about Bhagwan can never be an exaggeration. And Gita is considered as an abode of the Lord Himself. So those who have Shraddha, they believe that even the chanting of the Gita itself is enough. Unfortunately, in our culture for so many years that they took it so literally that they only kept chanting the Gita or they just kept worshipping the Gita. The Mahatmyam begins with this, but it goes on to say later that you should study, you should understand and all that. So here he says just the chanting is enough, and the home in which the Gita or the place in which the Gita is there is comparable to all great sacred places or pilgrimages. So he says Prayag and others, all these sacred places dwell in the place where this Gita is kept. All the divine beings also reside in such a place. Now 7th, 8th and 9th, these are very, very beautiful verses. Where Bhagavan says, Geeta-shraye, this verse we should chant actually. Geeta-shraye ham tishtami,
Geeta-shraye tishtami,
Geeta me chottamam griham,
Geeta me chottamam griham,
Geeta jnanam upashritya,
Geeta jnanam upashritya,
Trilokan palayamyaham.
Trilokan palayamyaham.
So he says, Geeta-shrayaham tishtami. I reside in the Gita. Gita mecha uttamam griham. Gita is my best abode. Bhagavan lives in the Gita. Gita jnanam upashritya. And he says, because of the knowledge of the Gita, with the knowledge of the Gita, I protect all the three worlds.
Which are the three worlds?
Three worlds.
Yeah.
So this earth, the interspace and the heavens. So in general it is called, these are called as the three worlds. But then Bhuhu, Bhuva and Suva. That's why we say in the Gayatri Mantra, Om Bhur Bhuva Suva. These symbolize all, the whole creation, gross and subtle. So when we say the third world, it is not in like in space. It's not in the physical dimension. It is a subtle realm of consciousness, like how the dream is. So the dream, if we are sleeping, and so we don't see dream in a physical place, but it is a realm of consciousness which mind experiences. So that way. So all those realms which are higher, they are indicated by the word Suva. So he says all the three worlds I protect. Now why does he say this? Is it just an exaggeration that Gita is my abode? You know, this is the reason why we worship the Gita also. We worship the Bhagavatam also. Because it is said that when Bhagavan was leaving this earth and the people asked him that when you disappear now, how will we tune up with you? So Bhagavan says, I will live in this world in the form of the Bhagavad. Same way here in the Gita. So some people consider it from bhakti standpoint, but otherwise also actually if we see, and today we have to see that how Bhagavan lives in the Gita and how Bhagavan's darshan you can have in the Gita, throughout the Gita. In different forms. Can you imagine how many forms Bhagavan has manifested in the Gita? Just think.
2000.
700 odd verses.
Number में नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ, but which all ways he must have manifested.
So what do you mean? How like?
Like
everything is me.
Arjun,
You are in
that
the
Meru
earth, I
Parvat,
am
all
the-
those.
I am the leaves, I am the sun, I am the moon, I am the this, I am
And-
the that.
So that is one aspect where everything is Bhagavan.
No, but then
Describes it.
I don't remember the chapter.
10th chapter.
But
Among the
among the
mountains,
mountains
and
and Meru Parvat and
correct. So that in that there are 70 plus examples. And there he says all that, and then he does a Vishwarupa also. The whole world is seeing him. So that way whole Gita is his manifestation only. But in specific forms he manifests in the Gita. I'll give you one example. Like in the first chapter he manifests as a Saarathi. So what I have done today is we have tried to try to draw this from the Gita, and what are the manifestations of the Lord in the Gita. So in the first chapter it is as a Saarathi. So we see verse number 21 to 24, where Arjun is actually, when he has chosen Bhagwan, he makes Bhagwan the Saarathi. And Bhagwan plays that role. He doesn't have any qualms about it. He doesn't say, I am Lord of the universe, why are you making me the Saarathi? And in fact, what Arjun did is the most intelligent thing that he did, that he gave the reins of his chariot to Bhagwan. If at all Duryodhana had chosen Bhagwan, whole war would not have happened. And he thought that he took the army, and he was very happy with that. And he said, what will Krishna do if he is not going to lift weapons? But the whole war they won only because of Krishna. So Bhagwan becomes the Saarathi. So first manifestation in the Gita. So I am going to take one manifestation in each chapter. So in the Gita he first manifests as a Saarathi. And that is his avatar. All his avatars are out of compassion only, but this is his supreme compassion to become a Saarathi. And what all he did for becoming a Saarathi, he is Ishwara, Supreme Lord, and he took the command of the Jiva. He is an ordinary one individual. And Arjun tells Bhagwan in this 21st sloka, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratham Sthapaya Mechuta. You place the chariot between these two armies. And as a role of a Saarathi, he obeys the command. Just imagine command to the Lord. If somebody commands us, who is our subordinate or who is younger to us, we feel, Mujhe aisa kyun bola? That is Bhagwan, and he has no ego at all. If he is playing the role of a Saarathi, he says, okay. And he gives him all the instructions that keep the chariot in between the two armies, as long as I see the people who have come to fight me. And who are these people? These are the wicked people of Dhritarashtra. All these people who have come to fight me. So he places the chariot. Bhagwan places the chariot there. And that is his way of showing his love for Arjun also. That Arjun, you have chosen me and you have made me that charioteer, so I will play that role to the best. And he played the role. How many times he saved Arjun's life? How much he did to ensure that all his horses and his chariot and everything is... It is said, at the end of the war, Bhagwan did not get down from the chariot. He told Arjun, you get down first. And Arjun got down. And the moment Arjun got down, and then Bhagwan got down, that whole chariot burst. So the idea is that the way he played his role to perfection as a Saarathi, so that is his first manifestation. So in the first chapter we meet, so these are all avatars of the Lord we can see. One is that Krishna Bhagavan as an avatar, he took an avatar. But in the Gita, these are all different avatars of the Lord for the devotee. Whichever avatar we like, we can choose that form and surrender. Bhagavan lives in the Gita in these forms, and there are many other forms in which he lives here.
Would you say these are roles that he is playing?
We can even say roles. Some of them are roles, but some of them are his manifestations, because they are not, you will see them as they come, they are not just physical forms. They are in terms of ideas, values, many subtler things also. So we see as we go along. Guess in the second chapter what is his role? What is his avatar?
Teacher.
Perfect. So in the second chapter, his avatar is as the Guru. When Arjun surrenders to Sri Krishna, that shloka we should chant today is very nice, 7th verse of this second chapter. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha
Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha
Prichhami tvam
Prichhami tvam
dharma sammudha-chetaha yat shreyasyat
Yashreyasya
nischitam bruhitam me
Nishchitam bruhitam me
shishyasteham
Shishyasteham
shadhimam tvam prapannam.
Shadimam tvam prapannam.
So with this Arjun surrenders. And this is the first time that Arjun is looking at Shri Krishna as a teacher. Till now we have seen him only as a childhood friend. But now he looks at him as a teacher. So he says, I don't know what is dharma, I have forgotten, I am confused, and I'm not capable of deciding what is the best thing for me. So I surrender unto you, I seek refuge. You please tell me what should be done. So with this, he manifests as the Guru. And the role of a Guru that he plays is so, again, perfect. What is the job of the Guru? The job of the Guru is to remove the ignorance of the disciple. So in the beginning of the Gita, we find Arjun is so confused, doesn't know what is right and wrong. And though Bhagavan gives him the knowledge, and at some points he also tells him that this is what you should do, that you should fight the war, gives him that specific instruction also. But at the end of the Gita, he gives him the freedom. He says, I have said what I have to say, now you do what is your will. Yatechasi tatha. And how much of clarity he gave to Arjun and brought about that surrender, that it was inevitable that Arjun said that Karishye vachanam tava, I will do what you have said. That is the confidence that he had in the knowledge that he gave to Arjun. That the knowledge that I have given to him is such that he will definitely do what is said. He will not decide otherwise. That's the power of the knowledge, and that's the glory of the teacher who has communicated it that way. That the disciple has understood it properly and he will do what is the right thing to do. That doesn't have to be forced. Otherwise he could have just told Arjun, okay Arjun, you fight the war, that is better for you, finished. But whole Gita, he gave him knowledge, he clarified his doubts and lifted Arjun from where he was in a very confused and confounded state to the level of clarity where he is ready to make the choice and without any hesitation. That clear crystal knowledge he has now. And the heart, see sometimes we get clarity in thinking, but the heart is not willing. Bhagavan gives him that capacity even to remove his confusions from his own heart, the knowledge of detachment, and he shows him the Vishwarupa and gives him that higher vision and invokes the devotion out of him. Till then devotion was there in Arjun, but it was towards his Guru, towards his family, towards Ishwara. As a surrender, it was not there. He worshipped Shivji and he acquired weapons and all that he did. But the seeker in him was born and the devotion in him was invoked by the Lord. So when we worship the Lord in the Guru avatar, then that is what happens to us. That clarity comes, surrender happens, and a person becomes free. That's why in the beginning it was said that one who studies the Gita will be free, karma will not bind that person and will be happy. Third chapter, Now it becomes difficult. This first two it becomes difficult. So in the third chapter we find Bhagwan appearing in the form of an ideal. Aadarsh. Meaning he is an ideal leader to look upon, who does not have anything to achieve. When he gives the example of Janak Maharaj and he says how these great kings, through action they have achieved liberation. And they don't have anything to achieve for personal glory because they have fulfilled themselves. Yet they act for the sake of the happiness in the world. I mean for the happiness of the people around. So this is where he gives that secret of leadership now. Yagyadacharati Shrestha in the 21st verse. He says, as the great people in the world act, so everybody else will follow. Whatever standards they set, people will just imitate them. And he gives his own example. That he says, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. O Partha, I don't have anything to be achieved in this whole world. He is already fulfilled. What does he have to achieve? We all act because we are wanting something. He says, there is nothing for me to gain. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu. In all the three worlds, there is nothing for me to gain. Nana vaptavam vaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. There is nothing that action can give me, yet I am acting. Why? Yadi aham na varteyam jatu karmani atandrita. Because if I don't act because of laziness or lethargy, the whole world will just follow me. Imagine Bhagwan setting the example for the whole world. He sets the example not only through avatar, when he takes avatar, but through all this which he manifests, through the sun and the stars and the rivers and the moon. Through each of them he sets the example. How? What we saw in the third chapter earlier. Through that spirit of yajna. The spirit of giving, the spirit of sacrifice, the spirit of living in harmony, giving up selfishness. So he says that is why he sets the example. And so he in third chapter manifests as the ideal leader, the Aadarsh Rupa. That is leadership by example, what we say. That more than the talk, it is how one lives, how one conducts. And Bhagwan showed that. So Aadarsh Rupa.
Sudhir also has an ideal Rupa.
He doesn't even what they call it ideal.
Now coming to fourth verse. Fourth one. He manifests as Ishwara. How he manifests as Ishwara Rupa in fourth one? This should be very easy for you. Yada yada hi dharmasya.
I'm everything random.
He comes,
No,
it's
whenever
not in
that
that.
is-
He says, whenever there is adharma, that shloka, yada yada hi dharmasya, that one. Then why does he take avatar? So no matter what he may be doing, he may be just a coward, he may be fighting the demons, or he may be just obeying his parents, he may be a disciple with his guru, he may be playing with the gopis, but never ever he forgets that he is a Ishwara. And the purpose of his avatar is establishment of dharma. So let us, together we can chant that, 7th and 8th verse of 4th chapter. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyutthanam-adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge this is the avatar Rupa of Bhagavan. That he manifests whenever there is decline of dharma and rise in adharma. Then to protect the saints and to destroy, not saints, good people, and to destroy the evil, he manifests.
What's happening in India, it should manifest very soon.
He will not manifest. This is not the right time because he is a very decent person. He will not come till there is a demand for him. And who wants him? People want his Maya. Duryodhana also.
Right.
One side Akshavani Sena, it is there, and one side is Bhagavan. हमारा लॉजिक तो बहुत क्लियर है. भगवान तो कभी भी कैसे भी मिलने ही वाले हैं. पहले उसकी अक्षौणी सेना ले लो. एंड जिसको भगवान चाहिए उनके हृदय में भगवान का अवतार तो होता ही है. Even today you will see. One who really wants Bhagwan, Bhagwan manifests. There is no doubt in that. But he doesn't. What do you say? He doesn't gate crash into our lives. चलो मैं आ रहा हूँ, तुमको चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए. He will wait. If you want me, I shall come. And he is waiting for so many lives after lives after lives. You know, we read the Gita from Arjun's standpoint, we read the Gita from Jiva's standpoint. But try to see the Gita from Krishna's standpoint. Then you will see the whole difference. That what must be Bhagwan's vision behind this? That how must he be looking at all of us? Like how a mother or a father will look at the child. How much of love and compassion. Whether the child cares or not, child comes back or not, doesn't matter. The compassion of the mother and father is the same way. And Shankaracharya ji says the love of the Guru, Sadguru and the love of Ishwara is such that hundreds and thousands of parents of so many lives, their love put together also will not stand in front of their compassion. So many devotees, some of them say that you take one step towards God, He will take 10 steps towards you and come. Because it is not possible for us to realize divinity through our effort. It is not that this many malas of japa I will do every day and this much puja I will do and then Bhagwan will become happy and calm. It is not a result of our sadhana. He manifests out of compassion. Even to the demons who did not have demand for him, he manifested for them and he gave them moksha. What to talk about the devotees? His compassion knows no reason. Our mindset makes us feel that we are not capable or we are not yet ready. He doesn't judge us at all. He doesn't say that abhi ye to samsari hai aur ye bhakt ho gaya. No.
Everyone is sick.
Everyone. He says samoham sarva bhuteshu. So we have to only go to him as we are first. That sankalpa one has just had that, oh Lord, I am yours and you are mine. Even at this moment. The difficulty with us is that only. We don't feel the living presence of God in our heart and around us. Because our intellect has spoiled us. We think this is all working on its own. Or there are some scientific laws behind it. But who is the lawmaker behind it? If there is a Shakti, there has to be a Shaktiman. If there is a machine, there has to be somebody to operate. So even if we say that there is nature, who created nature? How did the laws come into being? So there is that entity. So we feel the presence of the Lord in our heart. That is all is required. So Ishwara manifests in many ways. Not just as a physical form. But when we saw this part, we saw that there is one avatar of Ishwara which is called as Nitya avatar. So Ishwara is in this world like this through the Gita. He is there all the time. Or through the Bhagavatam, or through the devotees and the saints. They are called the Nitya avatar of the Lord. So Bhagwan is in the world in these forms, always. Then there is Avesh avatar, when he will manifest suddenly. In somebody you see some Avesh happens. Then there is Amsha avatar. Small part of his glory it will manifest. Then there is Leela avatar. So for different Leelas he will manifest in different ways. And then there is Adhyatma avatar, which is your own, in your own heart. That Adhyatma avatar happens by the free will of the devotee. If we want that Adhyatma avatar can happen in our heart even now. So Ishwara-Rupa, he manifests in this as Ishwara-Rupa, and what is the dharma of Ishwara is to protect dharma and protect all those who are following dharma. So if I worship the Lord as Ishwara, then there should not be any fear in my heart, because he protects. And he says very clearly, Paritranaya sadhunam. He comes mainly to protect the good people. When the good people are not able to practice goodness, in spite of the best efforts, even if that be one person, Bhagavan will manifest. We don't need majority. 2/3, what is that? 2/3 majority is not required. 272 plus target. One is enough. One is there. Prahlad, one person in that whole kingdom of Asuras, one person said Bhagavan, and he didn't even ask for Bhagavan's manifestation. He was happily chanting the name of the Lord. And you see the glory of Prahlad is such that he never asked Bhagavan that please save me. Never. I mean, the surrender of a person is so complete there, saying if my father is throwing me from the mountain, I am okay, fine. All is happening by Lord's will only. Everything is happening by God's will. No protest at all. Such complete surrender in his heart that Bhagavan says, now I have to go. If he is not calling, but I have to go. That is Ishwar Kripa. And that is what the devotee, even one devotee is there, avatar of Bhagavan will happen. So yeah, that is 4th chapter. Ishwar, in Ishwara-Rupa he manifests. 5th one, he manifests as Sarva-loka-maheshwara. What is this Sarva-loka-maheshwara? You see the last verse of this. Beautiful verse. 5th chapter, 29th verse. Bhoktaram yajna-tapasam Sarva-loka-maheshwaram Suhridam sarva-bhutanam Jnatva mam shantim richati. In this 5th chapter, he gives different aspects about yogi and sannyasi, and then the example of the lotus leaf and all that comes in this chapter. But he ends it with a very nice verse which says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. Of all the yajna, on all the tapas and all that a devotee does as spiritual sadhana, he says, I am the one who consumes all that, meaning all that reaches me. Who am I? Sarva-loka-maheshwaram. I am the great Lord of everything. And where am I? Suhridam sarva-bhutanam. I am the well-wisher of each and every being in this world. Knowing this, Jnatva mam shantim richati, the person will become happy. So that Supreme Lord of each and every one and everything in this world, there are 2 words, Mitra and Suhrid. Mitra means when you do something good to somebody as a friend, they also do good to you in return. And there is a mutual friendship. But Suhrid means even if you don't do anything, this person will continue to keep doing.
S-U-B-A-R-D.
Suhrid. Hrid means heart. S-U-H-R-D. Suhrid. So he says Suhridam sarva-bhutanam.
Name Surit.
Suhrid is a name also.
Yeah.
Surat.
Apple. Brother.
Actually, that Suhrud, na, they make it, that's a wrong spelling.
Yeah, they make it Surud.
Suhrud nahi, Ru nahi hai wo. It is not
Ru.
R and U.
It's
It is
Ri.
Her and
Ri.
Rishika Ru.
Yeah.
Ru.
Ru.
Suhrud.
Suhrud.
But our Gujarati
Sometimes
people,
there
they
are
are
SUHRID.
Suhrud ko Suhrud bana diya. Krishna ko Krishna
Surit
bana.
Gaigi is that?
Yeah, Surud Gaigi and Surud. They write as HID. But it's pronounced as Surud.
So they say Krishna.
Krishna.
They say Krishna.
They spoil any language, not just Sanskrit. They can't say snacks, they will say snakes.
English to the
English to full on. So anyway, beware on Bhagwan. Surat se hum kahan bujhu pe aaye. So the idea
with
is
a good heart.
the person who
No.
will be your well-wisher even if you don't do anything. And Bhagavan says, knowing that you will become, a person will become very peaceful. Just think, do we think Bhagavan is our Suhrit? Most of the time, how we remember Bhagavan? When some disappointment happens, hey Bhagavan, what have you done to me? Why have you done this to me? I don't deserve this. God is partial. There is no God. All that kind of thing keeps coming in the mind. But he says here, I am the well-wisher of everybody. Whether they turn to me, they don't turn to me, they are my friend, they are not my friend, I am their well-wisher. So that is his Sarva-loka-maheshwara Rupa. And why is Sarva-loka-maheshwara Rupa? Because he is a well-wisher of the whole universe. Not some specific individuals, even the smallest of the creatures. He is the Surat. So that is his Rupa. 6th chapter is his Vyaapak Rupa. So he is the one who pervades everything. Especially this is a chapter on meditation. So the result of meditation is the capacity to perceive Bhagavan in everything as everything. It is not an experience which comes and goes. That mind has some darshan of Bhagavan and then okay disappears. That also happens with purity of mind and when Shraddha is there. Do we actually believe that we can get the darshan of Bhagavan?
people have got it, so we can also get it.
Exactly. So that Shraddha we should have.
Free.
And with that Shraddha, when we do our Upasana, result comes. But somewhere deep down the mind, the feeling remains that this is only an idol. And pata nahi Bhagavan aayenge ki nahi aayenge. Even if that thought comes, it is very good. Because at least the doubt has come. Many times that thought also doesn't come, whether God will manifest or not. Because I am doing the puja or some japa, maybe just to make my mind single pointed or just to get some peace of mind or just as a spiritual discipline. But the feeling behind it, when it comes. So in meditation, the result of meditation is the ability to see Bhagavan everywhere. In fact, it is said in this that yato nischarati, in that earlier verse 26, he says, wherever the mind goes, you bring it back from there, place it in the self. And when we do that practice, again and again, when the mind is restrained from flying into 100 directions and brought back to the Chintan or the Atma itself, Atma Chintan, then it is very beautiful. What happens after that is, wherever the mind will go, there it will see Atma only. Yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadhaya. That is the state of a yogi. He doesn't have to restrain the mind anymore after that. Wherever the mind goes, we will see only Bhagavan. So that type of a devotee also is called as a Parabhakta, Supreme Bhakta. And what does he do? The Supreme Bhakta is so happy. He says, oh mind, I don't have to control you anymore. Because you cannot go anywhere else except Bhagavan. Wherever you go, my Bhagavan is already there. So no control is required. No nigraha is required. But remember, that has happened after all that nigraha is done earlier. So that is the Vyaapak Rupa, that he is everywhere. So in the 30th verse he says, Yomam pashyati sarvatra. He who sees me everywhere, sarvam cha mai pashyati, and sees everything in me. Tasyaham na pranashyami. To that person I am never absent. And that person is never absent for me. Sachamena pranashyati. Meaning they have become one. Bhagavan and the Bhakta have become one. Because this 6th chapter is like a culmination of one section in the Gita. The first 6 chapters are Karma Yoga. So through Karma Yoga, when the person has purified the mind, done the duties, done the upasana, comes to meditation, will realize this truth. Now 2nd section starts, which is the Bhakti Yoga. So in the 7th chapter, he manifests as the substratum of everything, which holds everything together. There's a beautiful verse in the 7th chapter, which is 7th verse, where he gives the example of the necklace, which has different types of different sizes, colors, shapes of the pearls, but the thread which binds all of them is the same, which is unseen. What is seen are all the pearls, but the thread is not seen, but that is the thread which binds everyone. So that is the Samagra Rupa, that what is that which binds everyone, which holds everyone together. So he says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchid asti. There is nothing greater than me. Not even a smallest of things. Nothing. Kinchid asti dhananjaya. Mai sarvamidam krutam. All this is strung in me. Sutre mani gana iva. Like the pearls are strung to the thread. And that is the vision of the devotee. So now that Bhakti Yoga starts, the devotee does not see Bhagavan only as an idol. The devotee sees that that same divine Lord is in everyone. In fact, he is the only one, the Lord is the only one who is common in all. Because our body, mind, intellect, size, shape, color, qualities, achievements, everything is different. And just imagine, we talk about world peace and all that. How will world peace ever happen till we don't recognize this factor which is uniting everyone? And that factor we don't want to acknowledge because we are scientific. There is no God. When you talk about God, is religious. So how will the world come together? The vision of the devotee is this, that there is one Lord in everyone, in every being, including inert things, which is what Prahlad told his father, that yes, he is there even in the pillar. So Sutre Manigana. 8th chapter, 8th chapter is very nice. In 8th chapter you have Sagun Nirakar Rupa Bhagavan and Nirgun Nirakar Rupa Bhagavan. And so for some devotees it may be very difficult also, because to worship the form and the formless and all that is very tough. So Bhagavan finally says in the 8th chapter that I manifest in the form of Sulabh Rupa, meaning the most easiest way to attain.
Simple.
Yeah. What is the word for it?
Simple.
Sulabh
No?
means
Easy. Yeah. Sulabh means very accessible.
Convenient.
Accessible. No?
Convenient.
accessible.
Easy to find.
It is correct. Easy to find.
Sulabh. Very
So,
attainable.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Accessible.
Accessible.
It will
Accessible.
come. The idea is that this is the simplest way to realize it. Let us say. So he says, Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam Smarati Nityasha. With single pointed devotion, whoever seeks me, in whichever form you seek, whether you seek in a Sagun form, Sagun Sakar, Sagun Nirakar, Nirgun Nirakar, so many different forms are there. See, that is the glory of our culture, which gives us this full range. Sagun Sakar means with the form and qualities. So we see Krishna Bhagavan and Ram Bhagavan and Durga and Devi, the Sagun Sakar. Then there is Sagun Nirakar, meaning no form but qualities. As what? So Ishwara is compassionate. He is all loving. He is all pervasive. He is all knowing. So the Arya Samaj worships Bhagavan in that form. Sagun Nirakar. So no specific form. So maybe through nature they worship. Then Nirgun Sakar. No, Nirgun Sakar, what does not have qualities but it has form. Which is that? Is Om. Omkar does not have human qualities, but Omkar is having a form, and that Omkar is Supreme Brahman.
It has a quality.
What quality? Brahman has quality. As Om, it doesn't have any qualities, no? Like Krishna has specific qualities when Rupa manifests.
Attributes.
But Om as an attribute does not have quality. Symbolism it may have. We may say that okay, U and Ma, so it is all the sounds and all that. That is our
interpretation, isn't it?
understanding, and we are trying to draw symbolism out of it. By itself it doesn't have qualities.
I thought it was the most
powerful mantra, subtlest mantra,
sound.
sound symbol. And then last one is Nirgun Nirakar, where there is no form also, no attributes also, is that formless Brahman. So he says any of these you can take. What is important is single pointed devotion. Bas. Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityasha. Tasyaham sulabha partha. For that person I am very easy to attain. Nitya yuktasya yogina. One who is striving to unite at all times.
Available, Sulabh.
9th chapter he manifests as all the pairs of opposites, Sat and Asat. So in the 19th verse he says that. He says, Tapami aham varsham. I am only the one who is scorching the earth and I am only giving the rain. Nigrinhami utsrujami cha. I withdraw the creation and I only bring it forth. I am only the amritam chaiva mrityuscha. Immortality also I am and death also I am. Sadasatcha aham Arjuna. And I am the Sat, existence and non-existence also. So meaning there is nothing which is beyond him. Whatever we see, good, bad, so-called good, bad, is all manifestation of the Lord. Then comes the 10th verse. 10th shloka is, 10th chapter is the Vibhuti Yoga. There he gives more than 70 examples of how he manifests in this whole creation. So I am not choosing any of these, but the last verse of this 10th chapter is very nice. This 10th chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga. Bhuti means to be. Vibhuti means to be in a very special way. So he says here, Yadyad Vibhuti Mat Sattvam Srimad Urjita Me Bhava. Whatever is brilliant in this whole world, Tatta Deva Avagachatvam. Know that to be a small part of my glory. Mama Teja Amsha Sambhavam. And just looking at that glory of these things, we can't imagine what will be the glory of Bhagavan. Just think of the glory of the Himalayas, or the Gangaji, or the lion, or so many of these massive galaxies and all of them. They are all small part of his infinite glory. So it is Sarva-aishwarya Rupa. Whenever we see something glorious, our mind should first go to the Lord, saying that this is the avatar of the Lord. suppose something nice comes out of me, some good thought or a nice project or a very brilliant idea or some poetry, anything that comes out, where we say, wow, first thought should be, this is the Lord's glory. Then rest of it, everything will follow. So, Sarva-aishwarya Rupa. And he says in that 42nd verse there that I have given you so many examples, but how much more can I tell you? Because my glory is infinite. I cannot keep on explaining more and more and more. But know that this whole world is there in me as a speck. All this which is said, now today you will see the scientific parallels to that. When they will speak about multiple universes and the same atom pervading in multiple places and many things like that. 11th chapter is very easy. What is the Rupa? 11th chapter? It's Virat, Vishwarupa. So the whole world he shows in this Vishwarupa only. Pashyame partha rupani shatashota sahasrashah nana vidhani divyani nana varna kritini cha. In this verse, in this chapter only comes that verse where that, when the nuclear blast was done first time, that scientist, what is his name? Oppenheimer.
Yeah, that video is there.
He quoted this chapter, this verse. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhave Yuga Padukchita.
He's taken the chamber and...
Yeah. And he said that I am reminded of this particular verse of the Gita. 12th verse of 11th chapter. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhaved Yuga Paduttita. If 1,000 suns were to rise at the same time, what would be that brilliance? Yadi bhasadrishi sasyat bhasastasya mahatmana. The glory of this Supreme Lord is so magnificent that one can just imagine that 1,000 suns rising together, that brilliance, that is the brilliance of the Lord. And he said that when the blast happened, he saw that. I don't know how he studied the Gita and how he even came to know about this shloka.
It's well documented, properly documented, and there's a video also.
12th chapter is Samuddhartaa Rupa. Samuddhartaa means one who saves, as a savior. Again, very nice shloka, you chant that. Tesham aham samuddharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chetasam. So he says, those who offer the actions unto me and with single pointed devotion, they serve in this world. How will they get liberated? So Bhagavan says here, Tesham aham samuddharta. I will lift them out of what? Samsara sagarat. From this ocean of change and death, I will lift them, I will liberate them. Bhavami nachirat partha. Not even a little time will be wasted. Instantly I will liberate them. So what is required is that we don't have to have doubt and skepticism. The work that we are doing itself can be offered to the Lord with that Ishwar-Arpan Buddhi when I am doing that. And the mind is fixed on that whatever I am doing is by the grace of the Lord, is a worship of the Lord. This is His promise. One of the classes I will do on this, on what are the promises that Bhagavan gives in the Gita. Many places He gives promises and he keeps them. Like one place He says, no, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I will take care of the yoga and kshema of that devotee. Like that there is a promise here. That Aham Samuddhartaa, I will lift this devotee out of this ocean of. So one doesn't have to feel that I am stuck up in my work and I don't have time for devotion and I can't do puja separately and japa separately. Not required. If that is my condition, that I am having that much work to do it as an offering of the Lord. And Bhagavan says, I will lift you out from here. Don't worry. 13th chapter, he manifests as, this is a nice one. So now, see the 12th chapter, 7th to 12th ended with Bhakti Yoga. Now comes the 13 to 18, which is the Jnana Yoga. So what is the goal of life to be achieved? What is that which we should know in this life, having got a human birth? That is called as Jneya. So Jneya-tattva, what is to be known in this world? So 13th chapter from number 12 to number 18 are all the verses which speak about that which is to be known, which is the consciousness. So he says, Sarvata Panipadam Tat. It is that which has the legs and hands everywhere. Sarvatokshi Shiromukham. It has eyes and heads everywhere. Sarvata Shruti Malloke. The ears everywhere. Sarvamavritya Tishtati. It is that which pervades everything. Meaning all eyes are his, all ears are his, all hands and legs are his. What does that mean? Do we know that because of which all this functions? Eyes, ears, hands, legs. Everything functions because of the presence of that consciousness. With the instruments of knowledge, I am knowing everything else, but I am not knowing the knower. That who is this knower? Who knows all this? Quantum mechanics has come to that. To find out who is the knower. Who is the observer. Because using the instruments of observation, I am observing outside. But who is the observer? That is not known. That is what is to be known. That in me, who is the knower? Who is the speaker? Who is the hearer? Who is the seer? Because eyes by themselves can't see. There is someone else seeing through the eyes. We may say it is the mind which sees through the eyes. But even when mind is not absent, I am aware of my existence. So that consciousness is the true knower. And so that is to be known, and that is described in this 13th chapter. So that is the Jneya-tattva Rupa. This is something which we should know. 14th chapter, he manifests as Aadipurusha, the one who creates everything, sustains and dissolves everything, and using his Maya, these whole three gunas are created. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and how these three gunas bind, and how by devotion and by surrender we can go from one level to the Tamas to Rajas, from Rajas to Sattva, and then from Sattva and beyond. So that is the Aadipurusha Rupa, 14th chapter, 27th verse, where he speaks about Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya avyayasya cha shashvatasya dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. That I am that Aadipurusha, that eternal absolute self, which is the substratum of each and everything. 15th chapter, he manifests as Purushottama Rupa, that supreme Purusha. Now, Purushottama in general language it would mean supreme amongst men who has achieved some greatness or some good qualities or a certain level of evolution. But here he says that supreme Purusha is the one who exists even when the waking dream ego and the deep sleep ego are not there. So there are three types of Purusha which are described in 15th chapter. One is called as Kshara Purusha, the destructible Purusha. So that is our waking and dream ego. Because every minute our identity keeps changing. That is called Kshara Purusha. Akshara Purusha is the deep sleep ego that doesn't change. Doesn't change meaning that body, mind, intellect becomes unmanifest. So we experience absence But beyond both these is the Uttama Purusha, the consciousness. So this last 6 chapters, each of them indicate the Swarupa of Bhagavan as consciousness, because it is Jnana Yoga. So that Uttama Purusha has to be known. How will I know it? My mind is so gross right now. So in the 16th chapter, he manifests as the divine qualities.
Yeah, those 10 qualities.
No, not 10, more than
16.
16.
16, yes.
So all the qualities, so if I am living any divine qualities, that is a manifestation of Bhagavan in me. If you read the Gita, at the end of it you may say, Mera kya bacha? Sab kuch Bhagavan hi hai. Qualities are also Him only. Body is also Him only. Consciousness also is Him only. That's the whole point of the Gita. If I understand that,
Then you are God. I mean, you are.
मेरा कुछ में कुछ नहीं, जो कुछ है वो तेरा तुझको सौंप के क्या लागे है मेरा. बस, over. The sar of Gita is that much. There is nothing in me of mine.
How do you say it?
There's nothing like mine only.
तेरा मेरा
कुछ
sorry.
तेरा तुझको क्या लागे मेरा. That's in the
मेरा मुझ में कुछ नहीं.
अच्छा मेरा.
हिंदी सॉन्ग बोलते हैं ना,
आरती में आता है.
आरती में वही.
मेरा वो तो लास्ट में आता है.
नहीं मेरा.
मेरा मुझ में कुछ नहीं, जो कुछ है वो तेरा. तेरा तुझको सौंप के क्या लागे है मेरा.
तेरा तुझको सौंप के
क्या लागे.
क्या लागे है.
क्या.
The beauty of this is when I become
क्या लागे
zero,
मेरा.
I become infinite.
I'm giving returning back to your own thing, your own gift. So
Then you go see anything.
I understood.
So 16 chapter 1 to 3, there are so many nice verses and so many nice values. Even you can take this for leadership. It begins with fearlessness. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi. If I am a devotee and Bhagavan is in me, I will be fearless. Why should I be scared? Whom? Sattva samshuddhi. There is purity in the heart. Jnana yoga vyavasthiti. There is abidance in knowledge. All these divine qualities. In fact, it is said that if you want to study the Gita, you should not study first chapter. You should not begin with first chapter. You should begin with 16th chapter. First study the 16th chapter. Why? Because in this 16th chapter we have Daivi Sampada and Asuri Sampada. So what is divine and what is demonic? And Akhandananji Maharaj says that you first study the 16th chapter, you come to know what is divine and what is demonic, and then you read the first chapter, you will find how Arjuna is so divine and how Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra are so demonic, and you can find out all those qualities in our own heart, and then we know how to surrender, how to progress ahead. The 16th chapter is terrific. If you want to understand how ego works, what is atheism, what is materialism, fully, complete description, what do you call that? Threadbare analysis, completely of this whole demonic qualities. Lots and lots of shlokas go, Asuri Sampatti. But Bhagavan assures Arjuna that don't worry, you are divine. Arjuna would have suddenly thought, Arey baap re. But he assures him that Abhijato se Pandava, you are born with divine qualities, so don't worry. 17th chapter, he manifests as Om Tat Sat. Each of them is one pointer of the truth. Om by itself is pointer of the truth. Tat is from Tattvamasi. That also is manifestation of the truth. That is the truth itself, not manifestation. And Sat also, Sat Chit Anand, existence. So any one of them I can contemplate and know the Lord as me. Or just use this word, Om Tat Sat. Anything that we do to make it complete, we say Om Tat Sat.
QED.
I don't know what is
Right, usually that.
That might you
Geometry
be
level
this
Prove, has proved.
QED used to be that, no?
Why
That
did
which
you
is
do that?
to be
In
proved is
Latin?
proved. Yeah. The English is that.
I
That
think it
which
was
has
a-
to be proved is proved.
What is it? That word is not to be true.
Why did it come as QED?
It's a
It's a
Latin.
Latin
Latin
It's
expression.
a Latin
Latin
word. It's an abbreviation of Latin. I forgot. I remember that. Geometry theorem. QED.
That's great. Riders and theorems work.
Oh, that's
I should love that.
The QED is so hence proved by your effort. This Om Tat Sat is, see, everything that we do, it will have some flaws. It will not be perfect. So whatever is incomplete becomes complete by saying Om Tat Sat. That's why we add Om to every mantra.
Why?
Because sometimes the mantra is not is specific only for, let us say, only for wealth or only for progeny. It has only a specific purpose. But by adding Om to it, whatever apurnata is there also becomes Purna.
But Om is a Shankar ka symbol, na? Then why Om is...
Om is Shankar ka symbol.
Shivji means why it is defined as Shivji ka this thing Om, no?
No, no.
In all the mandirs and all you see Om as the first.
And devotees to will do anything. Om to, they put Ganesh ji also as Om.
Yes.
If you see so many
Yeah, and the very...
places, the form of Om is Pranava Swarupa Ganesha. Om is beyond all forms. That's why we say it is Nirgun Sakar. It's the primordial sound of the
It's a bad.
So Om Tat Sat.
sent you that. Oh.
So you can, at the end of the day, you can say Om Tat Sat before you sleep. So whatever you have done through the day, wherever any deficiency is there, it completes. It is like a multivitamin supplement. जो भी खाते हैं वो तो उससे डेफिशिएंसी तो रहेगी. How to fulfill that? Take a multivitamin supplement. So Om.
My wife doesn't believe if I keep telling her. She still thinks that deficiency.
So she should also say Om Tat Sat. Then
But she
every
doesn't think she
deficiency
has
will
any
go.
deficiency. She doesn't have, only I have.
Okay, last one now. 18th chapter is most lovely. Sarva-sharanya. That it is the form of surrendering. We have to take refuge in that form. So, famous verse. Sarva-dharman parityajya
Sarva-dharman parityajya
mamekam sharanam raja
Mamekam sharanam vraja.
aham tva sarva papebhyah
sarva-papebhyo
moksha ishyami ma shuchah.
Mokshayishyami ma suchaha.
So he says, abandon all dharmas and come to me. Mam ekam sharanam raja. Come to me alone. Why abandon all dharma? Why not abandon adharma and go? There dharma does not mean in context of righteousness. There it is in the context of the roles that we are playing. Deha dharma, buddhi dharma, mano dharma, pita dharma, putra dharma. It says abandon all the roles and come to me as you are. I will liberate you from all the agitations, because they all are born out of false identification. As a son, as a father, as a body, as a mind, I have all these disturbances. When I go beyond them, there are no disturbances. Aham tva sarva papebhya moksha ishyami. I shall liberate you. Ma shucha. Do not grieve. It is very interesting because Arjuna was continuously grieving. So the beginning of the Gita, Bhagavan starts with Achochananga Shochastvam. When he gives his Upadesh, he says, don't grieve. You are grieving for those who are not to be grieved for. And the end also he says, Ma Shochaha, don't grieve. And some 12 plus times he says, Natvam Shochitumarhasi, Ma Shochaha. Again and again. Don't grieve, don't grieve. So if I am a student of the Gita, and if I want to offer my gratitude to the Gita, and I have been studying for so many years, one thing I should do is abandon grief from my life. Because Gita is called Ashoka Upanishad. No grief. There should not be any grief in life. If you feel the grief, immediately take up the Gita and study. And let that grief go. So these are 18 ways in which Bhagavan manifests. In each chapter there is one manifestation of the Lord. There are more also, we have chosen a few. So there is one more shloka in the Gita where he says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha. Whichever form the devotee worships me in, I bless that devotee with Shraddha in that particular form. So now you have more than 18 forms of Bhagavan. Any one form one can choose, or multiple forms also you can choose. But what is important is surrender. So this is how Bhagavan lives in the Gita. We were on the Geeta Mahatmyam and it said that Gita is my abode. Gita is the place where I reside in the 7th shloka here. Gita mein Parama Vidya. Gita is his supreme knowledge and supreme science. Brahma Rupa na samshaya. And what the Lord says here is beautiful. He says the Gita itself is the form of Brahman. That's why we worship the Gita. Because the knowledge of Brahman is Brahman. There are not two separate things. Brahman and knowledge of Brahman are not separate. God and knowledge of God are not separate. God is not an object. So studying the Gita, worshipping the Gita, reciting the Gita is the worship of the Lord himself. Now then he goes on to give many other benefits, that if you chant it every day, the full Gita, then what will happen? You will attain purity of the mind, perfection in knowledge and all that. And he knows that by every day one can't chant, it will take 3 hours to chant 18 chapters. So then he comes, if you read
15, 16.
half of it, or you just read 1/3 of it, or just one chapter of it.
You reach the moon.
So different results they will give. But one interesting observation is here, which is a guarantee that Vishnu Bhagavan gives. In the 14th shloka he says, if one reads a chapter or even a part of a verse, meaning even 1/4 of a verse or a small part of a verse, daily, retains a human body till the end of a manvantara. So human birth is assured. If you chant the Gita daily or chant one part of the Gita daily, or one verse also. So if you say Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, or Mamekam Sharanam Braja, or any one part, keep saying every day. Bhagavan says human birth is assured. Otherwise what happens to the jiva? You just imagine, no human birth is guaranteed. From where to where one goes, from human to animal, animal to plant, plant to deva, it's going. Now this is based on Shraddha. You can't say Kisne dekha hai. This is based on Shraddha. Bhagavan has given the assurance. Then he gives the more benefit of what happens if you just listen, what happens if you study, what happens if you meditate. And the 20th shloka is nice. He says that a daily bath in water cleanses people of their bodily dirt. But a bath taken once in the waters of the Gita cleanses them of the dirt of samsara. Just once. And so many saints have said that how do they spend their time? They keep on diving into the ocean of knowledge, which is the Gita. It is really an ocean of knowledge. How many things Bhagavan has said in that? One can keep contemplating on that.
Every time you read something new, it comes up.
So then finally he says that who all are even using this, because testimonials are required. No? So he says people like Janak Maharaj, Ambarish Raja, and so many of these people, these kings, they have studied this knowledge, and rooted in that knowledge, they have not only managed their kingdoms very well, but they have attained the highest goal. So that way, this is the glory of the Gita, and today being the Gita Jayanti, we really must express our gratitude to Sri Krishna and to Mother Gita that we have that blessing that we are able to study the Gita constantly, and we are able to reflect on it and apply it in our own lives.
And we have to thank you for giving us
Yes,
We have to thank Krishna for everything. we will,
What is Geeta Jayanti? Today was
the day today.
it started.
Why?
Today it was revealed, the knowledge of Gita was revealed to Arjuna today.
It's
Margashirsha
according
Ekadashi.
Maha?
Margashirsha.
Acha. Ekadashi.
Ekadashi. So, we should offer this, our satsang and all our years of study at the feet of the Lord. We will chant that mantra, that shloka, Kayena Vacha. All of us know, then we can chant together. Okay, let's repeat. Kayena Vacha Manasendriyairva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Svabhavat Karomi Adyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Narayanayeti Samarpayami Om Tat Sat Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
There is a small prasad that I have, which is जिसके प्रारब्ध में जो होगा वो आपको मिलेगा. There are two. One is Gita at a glance. So Guruji had given these talks, on the essence of the Gita in Melbourne. In a certain in a few sessions. It's not chapter wise or. So the whole essence of the Gita in about 5-8 sessions was given. Another is Gurudev's talk on Krishna avatar. This talk is very nice.